FC Barcelona had an interesting window. It started with Dani Alves prior to the window opening. The same can be said of Ferran Torres. Later in the window, Adama Traore became the second former Barca player to return, and finally, one of the strangest transfers, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Strange in how it went down, at least. It's no secret that Barcelona needs an overhaul, that they needed to add more quality in their side in order to compete with the top teams in La Liga, while simultaneously getting rid of some of the deadwood. So the question here is, did they achieve that? Hey there, I'm Adrian, and welcome to Rabona TV. Welcome back to all of those returning subscribers. It's great to see you guys again. And if you're new, hey man, I'm not gonna say hit that subscribe button right away. Let's take things slow here. Watch the video, maybe try another one out if you want, and then decide. No pressure. So yeah, guys, as you could have guessed, by now we're going to be looking at Barcelona's transfer window. On my podcast that I have with Tactical Manager, or Filippo, Manuel Veth, and Josh from JJD TV, we spoke a little bit about Barca's transfer dealings.
What do you guys think? Do you think that this is a team that is sort of building in the right direction with, the Ferran Torres, Aubameyang, the Adama Traore kind of signings?
No.
No, straight up no.
No, this is a disaster.
I mean, I think that the one signing that really stands out is Ferran Torres because he has proven that he is a good talent at Manchester City. But when you look at Aubameyang, then you look at Adama Traore, it
doesn't seem to fit. Also, I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with Xavi, what his plan is. Maybe he doesn't have a plan right now.
As you can tell, Manuel is German, so he's allergic to unsustainable business models to begin with. Oh, and I've linked to the pod below in case you ever wanted to give it a listen. But anyway, I wanted to expand on that a bit now that the dust has settled, deals have been finalized, etc. I'm almost thinking that Dani Alves' transfer shouldn't really be included in this video, given that it serves a completely different purpose to the rest of them, or at least it seemed like that from the outset. At 38 years old, the expectations were never that he would, waltz into the team and become the starting right back, winger, or central midfielder, if you want to go off of the various positions he played in his latter years back in Brazil. His signing, to me at least, seemed more like one with the intention of having him help guide some of the younger players at the club, given this is the direction that Xavi is seemingly wanting to go in, youth. I don't want to call him Xavi's lieutenant in the dressing room, but he is someone who is good to have around for leadership purposes, to ensure that everyone is training to the right standard, that they are showing up on time, that they are acting professionally, and Dani Alves could lead by example in that regard. At least that's what I thought at first, that he was simply a lieutenant, quote unquote. Now I'm kind of split. I mean, Dani Alves showed he has something to offer in Barcelona's Copa del Rey win against Linares. He then got an assist against Granada in La Liga, an assist against Athletic Club in the Copa del Rey again, and he was even recalled to the Brazilian national team, coming on as a 33rd minute sub against high-flying Ecuador and putting in a great performance. Then starting against Paraguay and once again excelling. Overall, I don't really see any negatives to his signing, considering he accepted the lowest possible salary that La Liga would allow Barcelona to give him in order to help out the team. He has the lowest salary within the squad. He signed because he genuinely wants to help the club. He wants to continue playing football at a high level. Far more upside to this signing than there are downsides. This will be short and sweet. Great signing, as Torres is a brilliant player. Nah, but seriously, I like this one. 55 million euros spent on him. A financial analyst could provide better insight into whether Barcelona are going about things responsibly with these, bringing in loans to pay off debt and to buy more players. But from a sporting perspective, Ferran Torres is the kind of talent that Barcelona needs to be signing. Young, with a really high ceiling, but he's still a here and now type of signing. Under Pep at City, he was employed as a center forward. At Valencia, he mostly played as a right winger, but it's safe to say that his strike rate is far better as a center forward, adapting to that role very, very well under Pep Guardiola. As a center forward, he has scored 9 goals in 20 appearances. As a right winger, 14 in 109. By the way, his goal scoring pedigree reaches to the national team as well, where he has 12 in 20 appearances at the senior level for Spain. This flexibility to be able to thrive in multiple positions will be vital for Xavi, as there is certainly going to be competition for his preferred positions, especially when you consider the next two signings that Barcelona made this window. But for me, Ferran Torres is an easy W. Adama Traore returned to Barcelona by way of Wolves, and in my opinion, this one is a bit of a gamble in some ways, but with the safeguard being that it's a loan with the option to make it permanent. Now, the safeguard only applies to the financial side of this deal. Barcelona are paying all of his wages, and they have the option to make the move permanent if all goes well for a fee that's believed to be around 30 million euros. But that valuation is something that we'll only be able to judge if Barcelona make this a permanent move, and once we've seen how he performs for Barcelona. But we can look at how he has performed for Wolves over the last few years. Traore joined them for the 2018-19 season, playing mostly as a right winger and sometimes as a center forward, and had 4 goal contributions from 36 appearances. His sophomore season was fantastic, however, comparatively, as he scored 6 and assisted 12, and was an absolute menace to Premier League defenses. It was also in 2020 that he became baby oil man, so shout out to him for giving us that gift, as it provided a lot of interest, even when Traore wasn't really providing much in the next 2 seasons for Wolves. Traore didn't have a single goal contribution until January of 2021 last season. The first 5 months of the season saw his crosses miss his teammates and shots were wayward. That led to 3 goals and 3 assists from 41 appearances, and so far this season, halfway through, he has 1 goal from 23 appearances, 0 assists, and he scored that goal in mid-January. So those are the raw numbers. In his defense, Wolves were terrible to watch under Nuno Espirito Santo in the Portuguese manager's final season with the club, and while it is often listed as Traore playing on the right wing, he was often playing as a right wing back in actuality. And Lage has at times played him as a center forward as well, just as Nuno did. Also in his defense, it's not as if Wolves are a free scoring team this season. They are incredibly pragmatic. I mean, they have scored 19 goals and conceded just 16. Now, the problem with him playing as a right wing back is that his final ball isn't good enough. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with FBref and their scouting reports at this point, in which they compare Traore's numbers directly against players like him in the top 5 leagues, in his case, attacking midfielders and wingers. I won't go through it all, as you can see for yourself that passing and shooting really aren't his forte. Where you do get elite numbers from Traore are, of course, in the dribbling categories, as you can see here. Feel free to pause if you want a closer look. So what Traore will bring to Barcelona is largely what Ousmane Dembele already brings to Barcelona, a progressive dribbler that will drive the ball forward, utilizing his pace and ability to beat his man, or multiple men, on the dribble. If they intended to get rid of Dembele, but they still wanted someone who had this progressive carrying ability, then they found that. But Traore is nowhere near Dembele when it comes to passing and even finishing, which I'm sure scares some Barcelona supporters to hear. But hey, he has a completely clean injury record, so yeah, he has that going for him. Aubameyang's transfer was a wild one. How it came about, how he almost forced it by flying to Barcelona to visit his father. I mean, it was brilliant by him. No doubt someone in his camp leaked to the local media he would be there. He knew his presence would generate a little media hysteria, and he knew that if his plan didn't work out, he always had that excuse of going to Barcelona to simply visit his dad at the house that he owns there. But that aside, Barcelona kind of won financially with this deal, in some ways at least. Arsenal were desperate to get rid of Aubameyang, and with his contract, if they were to terminate it straight up, they would have had to pay somewhere in the region of £27 million to Aubameyang, as David Ornstein said. Basically, Arsenal and Aubameyang went their separate ways by mutual consent, but Arsenal are still contributing to Aubameyang's compensation, as there's no way Barcelona could cover his wages and still fit him into their La Liga spending cap. And then, as Ornstein says, come the summer, Barcelona will take over full responsibility for Aubameyang's earnings via a contract that runs until 2025 with a break clause in 2023. Although Barcelona's contribution will then increase, his overall salary will be lower than what he was due to earn at Arsenal, albeit potentially over a longer term. I guess similar to what they did with Umtiti, making the same amount just over more seasons. So anyway, does his signing make sense on the pitch? 2 years ago, while in Qatar, Xavi said this, quote, "Mane and Aubameyang kill you in open space, but you need players that move well in short spaces. It is not easy to remember players that have adapted well to Barca. Eto'o was perfect, and now Luis Suarez. He was by no means saying that Aubameyang's a shit player or something like that, just that, he's perhaps alluding to Barcelona, and in order to play in the Barcelona ilk, you need to have technically gifted strikers that can operate in small spaces to combine with their teammates. And he's not wrong there. At his best, Aubameyang's running into open space down the left wing or playing centrally and drifting to the left, running onto through balls, getting on the end of cutbacks, or floating to the back post for crosses coming from the right, as he so frequently does. Low crosses though, because he doesn't score many headers. Or, as he so frequently did, as his goals have dried up a bit recently at Arsenal. Just like it happened with Ozil, and perhaps it's just a funny coincidence, but in handing Aubameyang a huge contract in 2020, he's been on the decline. This is rough numbers, but during the 2019-20 season, he was scoring a goal every 143 minutes in the Premier League, every 234 minutes last season, a sharp drop off, and every 260 minutes this season, scoring 4 goals from an expected goals of 6.2. Not spectacular by his own standards. We'll look past the disciplinary issues he had at the tail end of his Dortmund career and throughout at Arsenal. I did a video on him being stripped of the captaincy already, so you can check that out if you like. But now there's the question of how he will be utilized by Xavi. Does he play on the left, as he had done at Arsenal, where Fati and Memphis want to play? Does he play through the middle, putting Ferran Torres back on the right to fight with Adama Traore for a starting position? So all things concluded about this window, I commend Alemany and Laporta and co for how they have been able to cut down the salary mass at the club, as you can see here. They inherited an overgrown, rotting garden, and they've managed to trim back some of the wild. So from a financial standpoint, it seems as though they are really starting to move in the right direction with Barcelona. The Ferran Torres and Dani Alves deals make a ton of sense on the pitch, given how little they are paying Dani Alves, still a Brazil international, I'll remind you, and the incredibly high ceiling that Torres has, while still being a player that can help you here and now. Aubameyang and Traore. That's where I'm split. As Xavi himself has said in the past, he doesn't see him as a Barcelona player really, as he doesn't have the technical ability. But now that Xavi is the Barcelona manager, well, beggars can't really be choosers, right? I think one thing is certain. Aubameyang is an upgrade on Luuk de Jong. And so looking at it through that lens, Aubameyang is an upgrade, right? Traore, I'm not completely sold. He's a player that has consistently simmered without ever boiling. He's threatened to be devastating without ever actually being devastating. Besides that one season where he racked up the assists. I think these signings could work, but the Aubameyang and Traore signings don't really fit Xavi's vision for the future. Improvements in quality, but not really cohesive. Who knows? Perhaps being back in Catalonia will cause an awakening when it comes to Traore's final ball and finishing, and then that will enable him to take on 1 million defenders and then hit a low curling cross to the back post for Aubameyang to meet and tap in. Maybe we'll see that over and over again. Not really the Barcelona that Xavi has spoken of or his vision for Barcelona, but it could be effective. But what do you guys think? That's what I'm very curious about. So be sure to let me know down below with your thoughts on the window, moving in the right direction, or a bit of a scattergun approach from Barcelona. Whatever your thoughts, I want to hear them. But beyond that, thanks for watching and have a great weekend. Ciao.